So once again, good morning all, and today we are gonna see the third practical, which you can see on your screen right now. The definition is given in your syllabus, which is implement a program for stack that performs following operations using array. So we need to implement a stack using array, and which can perform few given operations. I mean, in your syllabus, they have given only 5 operations, but what we are going to do is we will write all those operations that we have seen in the lecture part. Okay. So let's start. Now, last week, we were not having a lab. You were merged with B batch and you've gone for the another subject. Before that, we have completed our second practical, which is dynamic memory allocation. Until that time, actually, we have completed user-defined functions, call by value, call by reference. That was the first practical. Then second practical was dynamic memory allocation. So we had seen malloc, calloc, and free functions and all, right? So those were the kind of revision for you all, and to bring your vehicle or your mind on a track, actually, right? From this practical onwards, we are actually going to start creating data structures that we have learned in this semester till now, right? So let's start doing this task step by step, and eventually we will be improving our entire code also. Fine. So what we actually need to do is we need to have a we need to have implementation of stack using array. Now when we implement it, then what we actually need is we need to define stack, and then we need to have all operations on stack, so that from void main or int main, where our execution starts, what we can do is we can have we can declare a variable of stack, right? And then we can call functions to perform operations, right? This is kind of a overall structure we define. So what we do is we actually implement our entire stack and its operations. So we need to define a stack, right? We define a stack and then we write operations. So all those functions we are going to write here. Now, once we are done with that, to test those operations, what we can do is in our main function, we can declare a variable and then we call all those functions and we test whether those functions are working properly or not, right? So that's what the task we want to perform. So let's start with defining a stack. Now, you can keep your algorithms that we have seen in the lecture side by. So while I'm teaching you the code, you can compare this code with all the algorithms. So you'll know that algorithms and programs are almost similar, and you can compare algorithm with functions so that you'll learn how to write functions from the algorithms. Okay, so talking on defining a stack. Now, if I want to have a stack, we need one data array to store the values, and we need a top variable, which is going to maintain the topmost position, right? So we need these two things. And combinedly, these two are going to work as a stack, right? Combinedly. So I need to combine these two in a single entity somehow. So we know that if we want to combine two entities in a single structure, we have a structure in C program. And we can declare a structure using struct and then structure label. Let's say stack. And semicolon at the end. So this is how we declare a structure. And now this data array and top variable, these two are members of that structure. Data type will be, let's say right now we just want to save the integer data, and top will always be integer because it is going to point the element, and that will be the index value, which always be the integer value. So integer data, integer top. And when we declare an array, we need to define a size of that array. That should be constant one. So I can have like 5 here, 5, 10, 15, 20, 18, whatever size you want, you can have it here. Now that is just the array declaration part where we need to define a size. So I can do that, but look, when you define size like this way, 5, which is a static value here, constant value, and a static value 5, then this is the maximum size of our stack. And somewhere later on, we are going to use that max size also when we want to define whether our stack is full or what, right? And if we are writing some loops, if we are writing some loop, let's say in display operation and so there we require this size. So if I write constant number, static number here, then in everywhere in my program, I need to write that 5 number. And later on, if we decide to increase or decrease our stack size, then we need to go and update every places, right? So that's somewhat tedious task, and it is prone to error also. So to overcome that problem, what we do is we define a max. What we do is I'm going to define a constant here, max, and then I'll give it a size. Now onwards, in entire program, I'm going to use this macro. It is called a macro when you define something constant. So I'm going to use this macro so that later on, if I decide to change the size, I'm going to change it at one place only, and it is going to have the effect in entire program, right? So defining something leads to the more efficient programming way. So everyone clear with this part, why I have defined max? I can go for number directly, but defining a max like this one will help us to update entire program in a single shot. Okay. If anyone is having any doubt, you can interrupt me and ask me if you have any query. Okay. So let's go on. This is defining a max, and we define a stack. So that's the definition of stack, which has one array and one top pointer. And then we are going to define operations. So normal operations, you will know, we need init operation, then we need push operation, we need pop operation, we need display operation, and so on, right? So if you know all the operations, then pop, then peep operation, then change operation, display operation, is empty to check whether stack is empty or what, then is full to check whether stack is full or what, and so on. So these are the number of operations we can define on a stack, so that whenever you want this kind of functionality, you can call these functions. So we are going to define these functions, and we can call those functions at this place. Now, once we have this definition, what we can do is we can declare a variable here of our stack, like this way, right? And if I define one function, let's say init function, it is not going to return anything, so void data type init. This is my function. And if you remember, in initialization part, what we do is we initialize our top with 1. Okay. And just to give the acknowledgement, let us have a printf statement. Just a printf statement, nothing else, for the acknowledgement part. Okay. So we have init function here. So we can call that init function from this place, right? And we can have other functions also. Once we define it, we will call those functions. But now when I call this init function, I need to tell this function which stack I want to initialize, because I might have multiple stacks like S1, S2, S3, and so on. If I do require, I can have multiple variables here. So when I call this init function, I need to tell that I want to initialize S1 right now. And for S2 and S3, I can have multiple init function calls from this place, right? So for init function, there will be one parameter, and that will be stack variable, okay? So need to define that formal parameter here also, and it will be struct stack S. Once we have that variable, we can access member of a structure by writing s dot top. Okay, so s dot top, I'm initializing that structure member to -1. So likewise, we can call functions. Now let me get rid of this. Let me have only one variable right now, s, and that is what I'm passing as a parameter. So this is init function, and we are done. Let me define push and pop also. We will call those functions also, and we'll test our program whether it is working properly or not. So if I want to have a push operation, it is going to return nothing. So void push, and I can call that function at this place. But if you compare this code with your algorithm, that then you'll come to know that, okay, we need to pass our stack variable, as well as we need to pass one value, let's say 5. What do you want to push there? So let's say in my stack S, I'm going to push 5. So that's how I call this function, right? So there are two parameters. Coming back to this definition, let us have those two parameters. First one will be stack variable, and second one will be the integer value, right? Now here in this function, in our data array, we are going to store this value, right? At which position, wherever your top is pointing to. So in your data array, top position, you are going to store this value. But before that, when you initialize your stack top, it is -1. So before that, we need to increase our top by 1. So from -1, it becomes 0. And on the 0 index, we store the first value. If I call this push function second time, from 0 top plus plus, it becomes 1, and index 1, I'm going to store the second value, and so on. So these two lines are going to store the value at appropriate place. But before I store this value, I should check one condition. If my top is already maximum size, and this is a program which is 0 based index value. So we are going to have max -1 here. Max size is 5, then maximum index possible value will be 4, right? So if your top is already 4, then you can say your stack is full. So this is your overflow condition, stack overflow. And if it is not full, then in the else part, I'm going to write these 2 lines. Okay. So those 2 lines goes in the else part. If your stack is full, you give a message stack overflow. If it is not full, then you store the value. But remember, the top, data, all these are members of your structure S. So we need to have s.top, s.top, s.data, s.top, right? So that's how we store a value. Now, once we store a value, let us have acknowledgement message, value inserted, let's say. So that's simple message for end user. And this is the push operation. Now, once I push one value in the stack, I can pop it also. If I have inserted value 5, then I can pop it, so I can have that value back. I can have that value back. So pop is going to return one value. So let me have integer variable also, where I can store the popped value. When I call this pop function, need to pass my stack variable also. So this is how I'm going to receive that value. And then what I can do is I can check if this value is not equals to null. Okay, then I can print that value on the output screen. Opt value is well. So we can print that message on the screen once we have that value back. But if I call this pop function, then let us define that function here. Now it will return one value, so return type will be integer, pop, and this is a function. It will have one stack variable as a parameter, right? So I'm going to return one value at the end, and from where I can have that value? So I can have that value from my data array top position. And once I get that value, don't forget to decrease your top. Now this data is a member of your stack. Top is also member of your stack. So s.top, s.data. Right? So from your stack, you take the topmost value, then you decrease your top and you return that value. So that value has been returned, popped value has been returned. But when I get that value, before that, I need to check whether my stack has a value or not, right? So this entire thing will go in the else part. If my stack is empty, then I cannot take any value from the data array. So how to check whether your stack is empty or not? So you can check it by top. When we initialize our stack, it was -1. So -1 indicates it's empty right now. And we can give a proper feedback message, stack underflow. So So this is going to check whether your stack is empty or not. If it is not empty, then we'll take that value and return a value. Initially, it can be garbage value. So just to be at a safer side, I'm going to initialize it with null. If you are not initializing it with null, then it's okay. You'll have some garbage value in return. But this is the pop function. Let us revise our entire flow till now. And let me save this project also. I haven't saved it. So I'm going to save this project first. And this one is EC1 stack program for C batch. Okay, this is just my naming convention for projects. So I save this project. And now let's revise our entire part. So first we define our stack as a structure where there are two members, data member, data array, and a top variable. Then we define three functions: initialization, where we make top -1, push function, where we increase our top and store the value, and pop function, which is exactly reverse of push, which will take value and then decrease the top. Now to test this thing, we call those functions from our int main. We declare a stack variable, we initialize it, we push one value, and we pop one value. So whatever value I push, I should have that back, and I should have this message popped value is 5. If that is the case, then my entire code is perfect. Right now, this is not going to work properly, but let us check. I know that why, and I'll explain you what is the problem, but let's run this code once and try to understand what is the problem here. So I'm going to run this program now. This is going to be the C language program. And when I run this program, I have this message, stack initialized. Okay. Stack initialized message is coming from this printf statement, which means when I call init function, then init function is working at this up to this line properly, and because of that I have this message stack initialized, right? Then from main we call a push function, and from push function either of these two printf statements should be printed, right? On your output, either you should have stack overflow or you should have value inserted message, but none of these two printf functions are executing. What we have is we have segmentation fault here or dumped. So segmentation fault, this is a runtime error, and that occurs when you try to access a memory block which is not assigned to you. Okay, when you try to access something which is not in reach of you, which is not a part of your allocation, at that time segmentation fault occurs. So can anyone try to identify what is the problem here? Why we are accessing a memory which is not given to us, where we have this kind of problem? Definitely that's the problem occurred in push function somewhere here. What do you think? What is the problem here? Just try whatever comes to your mind. Have it here on the table so everyone can discuss. Any idea? Okay, let me give you one hint. When I call these functions from my main, init s, push s, pop s, this parameter s, which is I'm passing, this is a call by value. Okay, this all function calls are call by value. So now tell me what is happening here. Look, you can unmute yourself and speak if you want. Instead of writing lengthier statement, you can speak here. Anyone? I just gave you a hint. All those function calls are called by value. Look, when I run this code, I have a runtime error, segmentation fault error, and that's because of I'm trying to access a memory location which is not allocated to me. That's the problem. Okay, so now can anyone tell me what is the problem? I've also given you the hint that all these function calls are called by value. Okay, let me tell you the actual reason behind this problem. So if you remember, when we call a function as a call by value, then whatever value we pass, copy of that value will be generated here in the function. So when I pass my stack, my first stack as a parameter, then at this place initialization function, copy of that is generated. And this top is becoming -1, but this top is a member of the copy generated, not the original stack. So initialization part of a top -1 runs perfectly, and we have this stack initialized message. But that -1 is happening into the copy, not the original one. So when I come back from this init function, okay, my original stack has not been initialized. It was the copy. Now when I call this push function, I'm passing my original stack. So this stack does not have top -1. And still what happens is when I pass this stack variable second time, then in the push function here, another copy will be generated, right? So in this copy, my top is not -1, it is something garbage value. Now that garbage value is not max -1 also. So I don't have this stack overflow message, and it goes to the else part. Then it increases that top variable value. So something, whatever garbage value is, it is incremented by 1. and still it is a garbage value. And then what I do is I use that garbage value as an index of my array. Now my array is of size 5 right now, and whatever garbage value I'm passing as an index, that is not within the range of my data array. So I'm accessing the element of my data array which is out of the range, beyond the range of my allocation. So at this line number 30, that segmentation fault error happens. Now, when this runtime error happens, it terminates the entire program, and that's the reason we do not have this message also. So understood, everyone? Yes, Harsh. Actually, if we want to change the value, then we need to call these functions by as a reference. Call by reference we need to follow, and that's what we are going to do now. But till this point, till this time, everyone clear what we have a problem and why we go for call by reference? Waiting for your response. So is this doubt clear? Yeah, we need to go for reference so that it will change the actual value. Okay, right. So now let me change, let me make those changes at every required places. When we declare a variable stack, and when we pass that variable, instead of call by value, we are going to pass it as a call by reference. So here we need to pass stack reference %s. So I'm going to pass the address of my stack, and that's going to happen everywhere. So whenever I pass my stack variable, I should pass stack address %s. Now this 5 is just a value, and if copy of that value is generated, I don't have any problem. So I'm not going to send address of this value, just the address of our original stack. Okay. Now if I pass the address from this function call, then at the other end, we need to have pointer variable to store the address. Everywhere we are going to have the pointer variable s, stack pointer s. Now if you have a normal variable of a structure, you can access its members by dot operator. But when you have a pointer variable of a structure, then instead of dot, you need to have arrow operator. So I need to change this also at every place. Okay. Instead of dot, we need to have arrow operator. And that I have here, right? So when I make these changes, let us save this code, and then we run this code one more time, we'll have the proper output. So first one, stack initialized, then we push value 5, so we have value inserted message, and then I pop a value. So the topmost value was 5, so popped value is 5. We have it back, and this indicates our code is working properly now. Okay, so we go for call by reference, and we have a pointer variable, right? Any query in the existing code that I've made changes here? Any query? Well, not. Then let's move on. So we have completed 3 operations: init, push, and pop. And likewise, we can complete all these functions and we can call those functions to test it. But let's say if I want to test it thoroughly, I want to go for random operations, then right now what I'm doing is, this is a static function call init, then one value pushed and one value popped. What if I want to push multiple values? And what if I want to pop multiple values at any point of given time? So for that, I'm going to now make changes here somewhat. Okay. So I'm going to create this as a menu-driven program. Whenever you have your stack, you need to initialize your stack only once, right? But after that, push, pop, peep, change, display, all these operations you can call at your choice. So what we actually want is, we want to have a menu kind of thing here. Right? I want to have a menu kind of thing. I am going to define all those operations first. And those functions are, let's say, first one is push, and so on. Right? So first one is push, second one is pop, then third one may be peep, fourth one may be change, fifth may be the display operation, sixth may be the is empty, check it, seventh is full, and so on, right? So this is just the list of operations here. And then I'll ask user to enter his choice. Right? And we scan that value. So we are actually asking user to select one operation. When we scan, we are going to have just integer choice. We need to declare that ch variable, right? So we have that choice. And then once we have that choice, based on that choice, we are going to call these functions. So I can have a switch case here. I can have switch case on this ch variable and have a multiple cases. Right? So I can have all those 7 cases. So second case, third choice, fourth choice, fifth choice, sixth choice, seventh choice, eighth choice. And if none of the choices are given from this list, then there may be default case also, where we can print the acknowledgement message that invalid operation. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to call this push function, cut it, and have a look at the choice. Push operation is choice 1. So from 1, I'm going to call it. Similarly, this pop function, cut it, and the pop function is choice 2. So from case 2, I'm going to have that pop operation. And likewise, when I complete all the remaining functions, I'm going to call those functions from these proper cases. Right? So is this clear? Defining the menu, and based on the menu choice, we are calling those functions. Are you clear with this part? Waiting for your response. If you have any doubt here, you can ask. Okay. So we define a menu, and based on the choice, we call a function. But still, this code is going to be executed once. But what I want is, I want to repeat this choice based execution. एक बार जैसे ये कोड एग्जीक्यूट हो जाए, दूसरी बार फिर से यही कोड रन होना चाहिए. I want to print this menu again so that user can give another choice and he can call appropriate function. So to run this code repeatedly, we need to go for a loop. Let me go for a while loop. And this entire menu and switch is going to be the part of my while loop. So I'm completing that while loop here at the end. So now this while loop is going to be repeated, and every time I'm going to print this menu, and based on the choice, I'm going to call this function. Now, how many times we need to run this loop? 5 times, 10 times, 15 times? That is not fixed actually. So at this place, I'm going to create this while loop as an infinite loop. So while 1 is a non-zero value, which is true. So this loop becomes infinite. Now, if this is infinite, that somehow I need to terminate it. So that termination choice we will also give to user. One extra choice for exit. Okay. When user selects exit, so option number 8, case number 8, we are simply going to exit this execution, exit 0. So that will terminate your program. So when user says he or she wants to exit, this program will exit. Otherwise, it is going to run this loop, and every time it is going to ask user to select an option, and based on that option, it is going to call those functions. Right? So we have changed our main code to the menu-driven code. Now, just for some decoration and partitions, let me have some extra printf statements. Right? So this is all that I need to make change here to make this menu-driven code. Let us save, and let's have a look at the effect. So when I run this code, right, forget about all these warnings right now. We'll see it later on. So here it says stack initialized. So my stack has been initialized, and then I have number of operations here, and it asked me to enter the choice. Right? So currently we do have only 2 operations, push and pop. We haven't defined these things right now. So if I right now call pop operation, then it is going to tell me stack underflow, because my stack does not have anything right now. So option 2 and enter. Oh, it has some problem. Let me have a look at it. Choice 2, segmentation fault core dump. Segmentation fault happens at when we have a runtime excess of memory, which is not a part. And now let us have a look at the, okay, right. One thing, declaration of exit requires lib to be included, right? And lib also needed to define that the null pointer, right? So let me have that part here also. My stack definition requires those things, so let's include stdlib.h file. Okay, so that completes my two problems, exit and null. Null, and okay, null is fine. And we have that thing here. Fine. Let me again run this code and check what happens. And we call the second option directly. Still we have segmentation fault. Need to have a look at the pop operation. Stack underflow method should come actually, and it's not there. S initialization, and when I go for case 2, ampersand S, yeah, there is no problem. Let us check what happens with push function, and then we'll find out what is the problem with pop. Okay. So what happens if I call push operation? Still, it has segmentation fault, which means it has a problem in this. Yeah, we actually have a problem here. I forgot to have ampersand sign in scanf. So what happens is my option is not stored in a proper variable, and that's why it is not calling this option properly. So that was the problem. Ampersand ch should be there. Let me save and run again. And now I'm going to call option 2, right? So initially my stack is empty, and if I call pop, then it should tell me stack underflow. Okay, so my stack is empty. Let me push some values. So option 1, value inserted. So what value has been inserted? Currently it was a static value 5. So 5 has been inserted. Now I can pop option number 2, and I'll have the popped value 5. Popped value is 5. So that's working properly, and we have number of options again and again. If I'm done, then I can call 8 to exit. So program finished. Which means now here also, when I call push operation, I can ask user to insert a value. Right? And we scan that value. And we pass this value. So whatever value user gives, we are going to push that value. And then we are going to pop that value. right? So every time when user calls push, we ask a value and then we insert it. And when user calls pop, we are going to have the value back here, right? So now we are done with the menu driven code. Okay. And if you complete all your functions at this place, then you can call those functions from these operations also, cases, switch cases also. Any question or doubt till now? Yeah, Harsh, it was not s points to top plus plus. It was the problem of %ch. Yeah, it's okay. At least you tried to find out the error and you pointed out one statement. That's fine. So everyone clear till now? Now it is just a matter of completing remaining functions. But before that, I also want to go for one more point here. Right now, I have written my entire code in a single file, right? My entire code is in a single file. Implementation part as well as this main function is just a demo of a stack. Now, this is actually the demo. It is demonstrating all those functions. So this is a demo code, and on the top we have actual implementation code. Now I want to separate these two out. Now first, let us ask a question: why? As a developer, if I'm developing this stack, okay, then I'm going to publish this stack so others can use it. मैंने ये स्टैक बनाया, अब मैं इसको पब्लिश कर दूंगा so that आप लोग इसको यूज कर पाओ. जब भी आपको स्टैक की जरूरत है, आप इसको यूज कर लो. That's point number 1. So अगर मैं ये पूरा main.c फाइल पब्लिश कर दूंगा और आप यूज करोगे, मतलब कैसे करोगे? यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू लुक एट द कोड इंटरनली. आपको तो ये सिर्फ फाइल इंक्लूड करनी है. जैसे ही आप ये stdio.h, stdlib.h इंक्लूड करते हो, whatever code is written in those files, you are using it. तो सिमिलरली आप क्या करोगे? मेरी जो स्टैक की फाइल है उसको इंक्लूड कर लोगे and you will start using it. So for that reason, अगर मैं ये फाइल पब्लिश कर दूं और आप इस फाइल को इंक्लूड कर लो, then you are going to have this int main. अब आपके खुद के प्रोग्राम में भी int main रहेगा, और मेरी फाइल जब आप इंक्लूड करोगे तो ये int main दूसरी बार आ जाएगा, and that creates a problem because in entire project main function should be there once only. तो मैं ये पूरी फाइल जो है वो पब्लिश नहीं कर सकूंगा. एंड वन मोर थिंग, जब आपको स्टैक यूज करना है तो उसके डेमो की आपको क्या जरूरत है? ये डेमो तभी चाहिए जब आपको स्टैक समझना हो, राइट? व्हेन यू वांट टू हैव अ लुक एट हाउ दिस स्टैक वर्क्स एंड व्हाट आर द फंक्शन कॉल्स, ये आपको जानना है, तभी आप डेमो देखोगे. देन you need not to have this demo part. You just need to have implementation part. So because of that reason, I'm going to separate these two parts and I'm going to have two separate files for this one. That's one reason. Second reason, जब मैं इस stack को publish करूंगा and आप लोग इसको यूज करोगे, then you are not going to have a look at the internal code. जैसे कि आपने stdio.h के अंदर क्या है आपने कभी नहीं देखा, stdlib.h फाइल के अंदर क्या है आपने कभी नहीं देखा. Similarly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to define a stack.h file, and what you will do is you will include that stack.h फाइल। तो आप ये stack.h के अंदर क्या है वो कभी नहीं देखोगे। जैसे आप printf और scanf यूज करते हो उसी तरह आप push pop peep init change फंक्शन यूज कर लोगे and that makes it abstract। तो जब ऐसा कुछ होगा तो ये तो क्या हो जाएगा, ये जो स्टैक है वो पूरा एब्स्ट्रैक्ट हो जाएगा। It is going to make this stack abstract one. So let me cut this implementation part. This is where we start implementing our stack. So यहाँ से लेके up to this is full function. I'm going to cut entire code. मैंने cut किया and then I will create a new file. I will call it stack.h, and here in this new file stack.h I will paste that entire code. Okay, and let me save this one. So implementation part जो है वो पूरा stack.h के अंदर है। जब कभी भी मुझे इसकी जरूरत होगी I'm going to include that file. Now once I include it, I can declare a variable and I can call those functions, right? So this separating two portions makes it abstract. अब अगर मैंने स्टैक को एब्स्ट्रैक्ट बना ही दिया है, then let us make this stack as an abstract data type also. क्योंकि जब यूजर इस स्टैक के वेरिएबल को डिक्लेयर करेगा और अगर वो इस तरह से डिक्लेयर करता है स्ट्रक्ट स्टैक, तो उसको इतना तो पता चलेगा कि वो स्ट्रक्चर है। Now I don't want to make that publicly available. What I want is यूजर को सिर्फ stack s डिक्लेयर करना हो। What I want is यूजर सिर्फ इस तरह से stack s डिक्लेयर कर दे। अब जब वो stack लिखेगा उसको नहीं पता है कि अंदर स्ट्रक्चर है या कुछ और है। So I want to make that also. Now when I declare a variable with this data type, this is a data type now. Stack becomes a data type. And this is not an inbuilt data type. So what is this? This is actually user defined data type. We need to declare this data type also. तो वो भी हम कहाँ पे करेंगे? ये header file के अंदर. So let me go to header file, and wherever I'm declaring my stack, defining a stack, I'll define stack as abstract data type, ADT. Okay. Abstract data type. Now to do it, I need to use typedef statement. Okay. Typedef statement. C language provides a typedef keyword using which you can define your type, your data type. Then the syntax of this typedef statement is you use typedef, which is a keyword, then one space, then you define your structure of data, then one space, and you give it a new data type name. Data type name and semicolon. Now this is the syntax of typedef statement. So what is the first thing? First thing is typedef. Typedef, it's a keyword, then space, then you define your structure of a data. So we have that structure here. So with one space, I'm going to define my structure here. So this entire thing is the structure. After defining a structure, one space and new data type name. So after defining that structure, one space, new data type name is capital stack. And then semicolon. So I have that semicolon here. So by using this typedef keyword, I can define a new data type stack. So that instead of writing struct stack, now I can use this capital stack everywhere. Even I can use it. So in my header file also, I'm going to replace this thing with stack everywhere. Okay, so that's a new user defined data type. And because of this thing, even user can declare a variable like this way, stack. Any query in this typedef keyword and typedef functionality? Okay, now Amit, I'm explaining each and every line right now. Once I'm done, then you are going to write your code. So I'm not going to provide this code in a chat. Otherwise, everyone is just going to copy and paste. So that should not happen. Right now, you understand everything, and then you go for your development. When you try it, then you will be more confident that you know how to implement the stack. Fine. So I'll not provide this code directly. You need to write your code. So now this makes my stack as an abstract also. So user is going to include that file. User does not know whether this stack has been implemented using structure, array, linked list, what, and how am I going to store the given value when I call push function, right? When I call push function, I don't know how that value has been stored in the stack. So it is abstract also. So now we can say this stack implementation is a abstract implementation also. And this is an abstract data type stack. Now this is where I will stop today. I'm going to stop right now. Let us quickly revise what we have done. We have created stack using array as an abstract data type. So for that we have we have entire implementation code in a separate file, and we use typedef to declare a new data type. Because of these functions we need to call, we need to have a reference here, pointer variable, and then we operate all those functions. Now we want to test these functions also. So in our main file, we have gone for the menu driven code, and based on the choice, we are going to have switch cases, and based on the case, every function will be called properly. And if that choice is not proper, then invalid operation, default message. So that is what we have done. Now I'm going to run this code once just to show you this is still working properly, and then you will create your practical 3 stack implementation using array like this one, like a menu driven program. Okay, today we have seen only 3 operations: init, push, and pop, and I expect that you complete this much part at least today. And in the next lab, we are going to complete this entire stack program. So we have this initialization message that's working properly, and then we have push, pop operations. So if I go for push, and now it will ask me to enter a value, user given value, let's say 5. So it gives me a message, value inserted. Let me insert one more value. So again, push, value 6. And I'm going to insert multiple values now: 7, 8, 9, and 10. So when I insert that value 10, it gives me overflow message, because 5 to 9, total 5 values I have already inserted. And when I go for the 6th insert operation, push operation, it gives me a message Stack Overflow. Now if I start popping values, then the topmost value will be 9. So popped value is 9. And the next topmost value will be 8. So we have that 8 and so on. So in a reverse manner, we will have all those values popped. 6, 5, and now if I pop, it will tell me underflow. So my stack is working properly, and now I can exit. I have tested my functions. I exit the code and done. Okay. So that's it. That's all. That's the content I wanted to deliver today. Now I'm going to stop this recording right now, and you will start implementing your stack now. We all are here till 11:30, and you will be performing your task now. If you have any problem or doubt or error, you can ask me. Don't waste your time. Just ask me. We will solve the query and we will complete our today's task. Half of the program. That's what I want all of you to complete today. So start your program now.